Thursday, April 24th, 2025. This meeting's in person. It can also be viewed on the local cable channel 1303 or on the internet by accessing the town website at bucksportmaine.gov, clicking on Watch Meeting and selecting Infrastructure and Properties Committee Meeting. Roll call. Councillor Eastman?
Here.
Councillor Rankin?
Here.
Okay. So we have a request from the Orland Fire Department to purchase fuel from the town of Bucksport, and that request was in the packet.
You have in your packet an email from Matthew Gray from Orland Fire, who had called about doing similar to what RSU 25 does, which is purchase fuel through the town of Bucksport's Public Works setup. That, as he indicated, they use about 420 gallons a year, but they're paying a lot higher price for that than what our price is. The way we do with RSU 25 is it's recorded the way everybody else does, and then Ann bills on a monthly basis to RSU 25, who pays the town, but I don't have the authority to add anybody to anything. So it's in front of the council. Mr. Gray's here, Public Works is here, to talk about if you wanted to consider this, what it might look like if you did.
There's nothing negative on our end that could happen from this, correct?
I don't know what you mean.
This isn't gonna hurt us in any way just by having them get fuel through us, correct?
It would be no different than RSU 25.
Same
It's
setup.
a MOU where the purchasing is through, they're a legitimate entity to do that because of what they are. We just upgraded our system
To keep track.
to keep track,
Oh, yeah,
which was an issue. I think there's some other issues related to the pumps, but I'm not, that will eventually have to be replaced. Is that, Jay?
Yeah.
Can you?
The only thing I could possibly think of is that we are going to have to think about the future needs of replacing or maintaining pumps. And are we gonna carry all the cost of that? Or are we gonna share that with the RSU and Orland Fire moving forward?
And that's different than the equipment we just put in?
Yes.
Pumps themselves, not the.
But I
Right,
mean,
this is just-
what did we pay for that, and we didn't split that between anybody.
Right.
And we,
I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna be adding more and more, are we just gonna stay on the same
Right,
plan?
should there be some
Or
kind
is
of,
this a opportunity to discuss it?
currently the town bills RSU 25 the exact same price that we pay for fuel. We don't add on administrative cost or whatever for maintaining. And departments pay highway for work that's done, and fuel is charged off through the same billing process. It would be the addition of another account in order to do that. But that's the only thing that we share ownership of is the sewer treatment plant. The sewer treatment facility is owned, part of that's owned by Orland, part of it's owned by Verona. They pay a share of the debt service on the brandy new one that we built in 2018. The 28 years of debt service, they pay their ownership share of that. But other than that, we don't apportion ownership costs over that there was some discussion when we were talking about doing a new animal shelter, asking participants to do that, and that becomes problematic if they back out or if they don't, but
Matt's talking about, he has history of 420 gallons, that's 35 gallons a month of either diesel or gasoline. And I don't see any reason to put a markup on that or
Oh, no, I
require
wasn't-
any maintenance, repair, operating costs from Orland for that amount of fuel.
I was just explaining how we do it, which is we don't do that.
I just weigh in for a second. I just think that I'm really surprised we don't do this already. We have such a strong mutual aid agreement
Yeah.
with them, with our fire departments, and the collaboration we have with them with training and everything. I'm honestly surprised that this hasn't existed before. So I would strongly advocate for us helping them help us with the relationship we have.
We're in the process of, you approved Jacob and I settling on a price when we got one that covers our new fiscal year. Adding them into the current fiscal year would not be, we're gonna run out of gallons for what we've already obligated if we, you know what I mean? We've obligated for buses and for, when we bid it out, we try to bid as close as we can to the number of gallons. Because if we don't use them all, according to the contract, the vendor could just charge us for them at the end of the fiscal year. They've not done that. What they do is they carry them forward at the old rate. And if the old rate is high, they either carry them forward or they blend the rate with the old and the new, and everything is a little bit higher. And if you're under, you just pay whatever the rate is until you get a new contract. So I get a message every day on what the rate is, and Jacob and I talk about whether or not it's pull the trigger time or not. But that, so if you decided to go forward, there just needs to be an MOU between the town of Orland and the town of Bucksport that define how many gallons and that, what the terms of billing are, and the same thing we do with, just so there's an agreement in place. for how
I
to-
wonder if the MOU should be, rather than your average, the highest amount, so if it goes up, they're not locked in, like if they go beyond the 420 or.
It needs to be, 420 isn't, this, we're bidding 45,000 gallons
Okay,
of
never mind.
fuel.
So
I mean,
it's inconsequential.
because the buses are the biggest part of that. It used to be that Public Works was a huge part of it, but the newer trucks, the better engines, all of those things have dropped down. I think we're down to 8,000 or 9,000 gallons a year, but the buses are 30,000 or, they're a lot of fuel. So, 500 gallons isn't gonna put us into a tailspin, I don't think. I think that the question would be how many people are gonna have access. I don't know how many members there are, everybody has a code, right, Jay? And they have to use that code that identifies them as a member of whatever department it is, so that when Ann bills, we know how to do that. And if there's 100 people, that would be an issue. Just because keeping track of that many people who have authority to put. And then the other thing is what vehicles are, because we're audited for, what, we can't have personal vehicles being filled, we can't have any of that kind of stuff. So it's just municipal.
And that would all be outlined in the MOU, right?
It would have to be.
What's your sense, Matt, of how many people would?
So we have 5 pieces of apparatus. I work for the city of Bangor that has a similar setup, and each piece of apparatus in the city of Bangor has a key that you put into the machine as well as a code that is designated to each vehicle, so that's kind of a two-way,
A two-step authentication.
right, exactly. So I guess I have no idea how your system works here, but I would think that it would make sense to have a code for each of the 5 vehicles and some type of key, whether the key is kept at the facility or if each piece of apparatus gets a key as well. I wouldn't recommend handing out 30 keys to our 30 members because that wouldn't make any sense. I would think that keeping the key in the truck is in the locked bay. You mentioned that you have surveillance on the pumps and whatnot, so I don't know if that would work, but.
How does ours work?
We have each authorized person has a 4-digit code. And the pumps ask you for that code first. And then it will ask you the vehicle number. So each vehicle has an identification number, which whether it's 4 or 5, 6 numbers, I can't remember exactly, but once you have both of those things satisfied, the pump will authorize you for what that vehicle is authorized to pump. Whether it's a diesel or it's a gas, it'll tell you pump 1 or pump 2. And that's the only one that'll turn on.
In theory, we could make the Portland Fire Department their own individual for all 5 vehicles, correct?
You could, if you had no desire to know who fueled what vehicles.
I mean, if-
Otherwise, you would have to have each individual have a identification number. And the vehicle itself have its own number. But I mean, you said there's 5 pieces of apparatus, like, so that, I don't think that's gonna be a stress. Jim would be the one that would be programming all that. But.
Director Gagan's also here, if you have any input, now that I see you're here.
I'm obviously in favor of this. Right, Matt? Yes.
I'm so surprised.
My only question would be the 420 gallons a year is not a lot. And I know we're on automatic delivery for all of this, and we rarely ever run out. But my question would be if automatic delivery would have to be more throughout the year to keep the tanks full, or if we ever get down that low, so if they needed to gas up or diesel, they wouldn't have it, or we wouldn't have it.
to kind of play it by ear.
So that was my only thought, is that.
It feels like after the first heating season or delivery season, they'd get a pattern of usage. perhaps.
We're on automatic delivery
Right.
anyway, and the only time we've ever run into a problem is when they screw up.
Didn't
to
deliver,
be
right.
perfectly honest, and that's dealt with swiftly.
And as far as the code goes, I would highly recommend that whoever's gonna be fueling up has a code, because you can tell who that person was, not one of 30. Vehicles will have their own code, but each one of my personnel has a code that they put in.
And you
so
prefer
I
to see it
know.
go that way?
Like my code, I won't give it out, but they know every time. I could gas up any vehicle at the station, but they know it's me doing it. And the surveillance too.
We don't have key cards.
Yeah, we used to have keys and all, we don't have that anymore.
It's just code, is a code for person and
Yeah.
a code for whatever vehicle they're in, and
Yeah.
that would be.
They are, only certain people are certified to drive vehicles. Like Matt said, there are only 5 vehicles, only one of them can take, it's primary diesel, but it does have a gasoline pump on the back. Even the chief, drives his own personal vehicle, is not reimbursed. The way we currently do it is we'll go down to the Big Apple, we'll pull up, they have a credit card on file, we have a code number to enter, we go to the pump, take care of all that, we enter our code, and off we go. But there's only, like I say, 5 vehicles, only certain people are authorized to drive any of those 5 vehicles, they're all tested and certified. And
I think it would be easy to do, but
So what's the pleasure of the committee?
Motion to move forward to the council?
Second.
All in favor?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
So there will be a resolve on your next council meeting agenda.
I did talk to my select board and they were voting in favor